Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am French Pearson, and welcome again to my channel. It is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, November 26th of 2024, 11:21 in the a.m. Let's say it together. Praise our precious Heavenly Father, from whom all blessings flow. Oh yeah. Can I say it again? That's a beautiful thing. People, I want to delve into the immigration thing from another angle. Something I've been wanting to do for a while. But I thought that I would let information flow. You see, because Donald J. Trump has been saying, and now that he has his borders are, hey, it's on. He's been saying that from day one, January 20th, he's going to start the mass deportation. But what about the governors and the mayors that are resisting? Or is there a better word? Not cooperating. Trying to utilize the law. Will this thing go to the Supreme Court? How will they handle it? States' rights, federal government's rights. I mean, throw in the logic. Will this cause civil war? How do you cherry pick the thing? I mean, the definition of having military in our streets. That's what it could possibly come down to. How will you react? Would it set a dangerous precedence? Would it look? We have seen over the arguably last 10 years, but more so the last maybe 4 or 5 years, when the government is on a manhunt, they have every tool at their disposal. Helicopters, right? They're coming through our streets in the cities with lack of a better way to describe it. They look like tanks, right? You see, I've done the videos. I've been doing the videos for years. When they're looking for someone, it looks like the army. It looks like military. So is this and will this be another step where you're saying like, wow, back in the day, I forgot the name of the law. Put it in the comment section. There is a law that prohibits military on our street, but we're talking about an executive order in relation to a crisis, quote unquote. I mean, to throw it back on Joe Biden and Kamala, it's a response in relation to them breaking the law. We should never got here, but Trump is saying it's an emergency. Do you think it is an emergency? We're talking finance. We're talking illegals who have come over here and skirted the law. Compliments of Joe Biden administration. And it came out, over a month ago, we have, 12,000 of them or maybe more than that, were in prison? Come on, man. Come on. This could very well be a crisis. Here in Chicago, the black and brown community, again, you've seen the videos. I mean, they ain't getting no love. You bring in hundreds of thousands of them into the neighborhoods of black people here in Chicago, feeding them, clothing them, getting them shelter and hospitalization. And all of a sudden you got money for that, but you didn't have money to take care of the poor people and the poor blacks back in the day. Come on. So what a fix that we're in. So let's get into this thing. And let's see what the governors and mayors from around the United States are talking about. Here we go.
His newly appointed border czar, Tom Homan, said yesterday the Trump administration will prioritize deporting people who are living in the country illegally and pose a threat to public safety. He also says officials will increase workplace raids as a part of a crackdown on labor and sex trafficking. Immigration attorney Jose Osorio believes that Trump's immigration plans will cause mass confusion.
One of the plans is job site raids. And if it gets to that point, people will be caught up in the system, and how will they know who's an immigrant and who's not?
Osorio says with so much uncertainty, people need to get their documents in order, have proof of family ties and work authorization, or any document that shows permission to be in the country. As for California, Governor
I would say yeah. I would say yeah. And look, if I'm an immigrant, even if I'm legit, I got my papers on me. You know, this hasn't happened since, if I'm not mistaken, since the Depression. So it ain't nothing new. In fact, you know what? I take that back. Obama did deportation as well. So Biden, I'm not going to even debate that. So you're gonna export 2 but bring in 100? That's not deportation. So yeah, tell me what you think. I mean, how do you cherry pick this thing? Look, people, it might be a mess. It might be a mess. Now, this really broke my heart. Fox News broke this story today. 57 minutes ago, right? And here it is, a 2-year-old child with a caravan on their way here. And her mama and daddy not with her. But somebody got to be with her, but they interviewed the little girl. And she's going to meet her mama and daddy somehow, some way here in America. This is on our border, people. Check it out. She's in a caravan.
Estados Unidos?
Wow. Tom Homan joins us now. Hey, Tom, that's a story new to most of America, but not new to you, is it?
No, I've been talking about this for 4 years, about the inhumanity of that border, about how many children die, whether in the desert or in the river. Since Joe Biden's been president, we got nearly 4,000 aliens that died across this border. Children die almost every day. Children get sexually assaulted. 31% of women that make that journey get sexually assaulted. And this administration's been hiding it. This is something we're going to address. We're going to show the American people exactly what we're doing on the border and why we need to do it. And this is one clear example of why we need to secure that border.
So, Tom, there's other 2-year-olds being held right now. And because in a rush to get them out, they're giving them to strangers who show up and say, I'm the sponsor, I'm the relative. How do you stop that? I mean, what do you do with the children? How do you stop the income?
This is insane. People, unfortunately, only get a minute per video that I can use for the guidelines, but it's enough to build my story. Can you imagine? 2-year-old? And people, like I said the other day when I popped off and I did my rant, you know good and well a 2-year-old is not walking that long, people. Come on now, let's just keep it real. Ain't no 2-year-old walking that far. Come on, man. So you know these people have got to be bussed in. Now the rest is photo op. Look, the child is 2 years old. She's 2. She got to know somebody in the crowd. Somebody picked up and walked in. They got to walk in now. Maybe somebody picked her up and put her in a baby stroller. I don't know. But you got to use your logic. It's got to be more than just her on the border. But this is insane that Biden would even break the law. And how can he say, and how Kamala Harris not say, you put a microphone up to their mouth, how could they say they don't know this? This is an inhumane way of bringing people over. How come we just couldn't keep it the normal way? And to me, the logic has got to be beyond future votes. It's got to be something else. I'm telling y'all, it's the one world system. Now, here's my governor, Princeton, one of the most wealthiest men in the world. He's pushing back right here in Illinois. He's pushing back. He's pushing back. Listen to what he's got to say.
Prospect. The idea of calling out, the Army into the domestic confines of the United States seems uncalled for and may in fact be unconstitutional and illegal.
ACLU of Illinois spokesperson Ed Youngkin agrees and says the deployment of military personnel onto the streets of the U.S. would erode trust in the world's most lethal fighting force.
It is designed for war against an armed conflict against an armed enemy. It is not designed for the purposes of, marching through the streets of Chicago or a suburb in order to round up civilians.
But is it legal to deploy the military? Illinois' top law enforcement official, Attorney General Kwame Raoul, says it's fuzzy.
And it would depend on what theory they're using those assets for, like if there's some national security.
Again, people, we haven't seen this in terms of rebellion. Have we? Correct me if I'm wrong, but the governors and the mayors, why can't we just keep with the law? Where were these mayors and governors when Joe Biden was breaking the law? You can poke your chest out now. Where were you then? Bringing people over in the middle of the night. You guys heard about it back in the on the plane. Our tax dollars. What's with this sneak move? We don't know who these people are. Now you want to push back. Oh, it's be cool, Pearson. It's party loyalty. No, it's aiding and abetting one's country. It's treason. Now here's somebody with some sense from Chicago. He's responding to this crap, saying basically the federal government can oversee, can push through in relation to an emergency. And the bottom line is the policemen here and whatever, they basically, if they don't want to help out, fine, but they can't stop it.
Thank you so much for your time on this. So we heard from Mayor Brandon Johnson there. How much power does Chicago's mayor really have if it does come down to a local versus federal standoff?
Chicago's a sanctuary city, but that doesn't mean that the federal government cannot send in ICE agents to remove illegal aliens, especially if they've committed crimes. They just won't have the assistance of Chicago police officers. The people of Chicago that I'm talking to, including black and brown people, communities, say that they feel that we've been generous enough with illegal aliens that they feel that they've suffered as a result, and they're hoping that Donald Trump will, in fact, reverse Chicago's sanctuary city status, and that Chicago...
Enough said. I said enough said. Now, here is the mayor of Boston. I did a breakdown on her, if I'm not mistaken, either this year or last year on my other channel. And I got issues with her on another level, but she's resisting Trump as well.
And she is standing by her comments that she told us on OTR just a few days ago. The mayor saying she doesn't need the federal government's help causing fear through mass deportations. It is the Boston Mayor Michelle Wu doubling down on refusing to cooperate with President-elect Trump's plan for mass deportations. We have laws on the books that ensure that we do not cooperate on civil immigration detainers. Sunday on OTR, I asked Mayor Wu what Boston's response would be if mass deportations happen. We are not cooperating with those efforts that actually threaten the safety of everyone by causing widespread fear and having large-scale economic impact.
So she helps us, she gets the hell out of the way.
President-elect Trump's border czar fiercely criticizing the mayor in the wake of her comments.
Well, she's not very smart, I'll give her that. Because what I just said is President Trump's going to prioritize public safety threats. What mayor or governor doesn't want public safety threats out of their communities?
That makes sense. And there was a young child that was taken advantage of, hint, hint, within the last 2 weeks where she's at. And yeah, she runs arguably the safest city, but one illegal, which could have a background in what that person just did to a child is one too many. And again, where was she at when Biden was breaking the law? Now, here's a response from this gentleman in relation to what that mayor did.
Well, I think.
All right, people are going to stop it there. Had some editing issues, so we'll show it from this standpoint. We'll see what this gentleman has to say, and we'll go from there.
I think that Homan is hard-edged, but he's also a guy who has decades of experience in immigration enforcement under both parties, okay, Republicans and Democratic presidents. President Obama gave him an award in 2016 for his effectiveness in enforcing immigration. So he knows something, and let's face it, it's not just Michelle Wu. The entire state of Massachusetts has an open border, has a policy which is out of step with other states. We have a lot of illegal immigrants here. 3 were arrested this week.
3 were arrested because they did something, just let's say just somebody young, okay? That's why I had to edit it. Okay, check this out. Now here's, before I go into this, let me say this to you. Put this in the comment section. Do you think that Satan is setting up this thing of good cop, bad cop, all the way from, let's say, the Obama administration, utilizing immigration as a way so in the future, we'll get used to seeing the military on our streets? Do you understand? If we get used to it now, in relation to immigration, we'll get used to it in the future, like a police state. Oh, it's deep. You got to think about it.
Well, the mayor of Denver, me being polite, is an idiot. If he thinks he's going to stop this, Donald Trump's kicking people out that are here illegally. Donald Trump's going to do that. I mean, Tom Homan, the guy he appointed, is a no-nonsense guy that's going to get these people out of there. And if you really look at the people in the cities that are plagued by this problem, the illegal immigration, it's New York. And you have Mayor Eric Adams, who's a lifelong Democrat, basically cozying up to Donald Trump because he needs his help, he needs his support. He realizes that a lot of these people have criminal records and that we can't vet them at the border. So if you're unvetted, and we don't know that if you're a murderer or if you have a sexual assault on your record and we're just letting you in the country, that's unacceptable. So we have to stop that. If you want to come here, you got to come here legally. And I think Donald Trump has even said that if you graduate from a school, he's going to make it easier for you to get citizenship. So it's like these mayors that think what Donald Trump is doing is sinister or bad for trying to protect American citizens makes me sick. And these sanctuary cities are not going to be able to stop Donald Trump if Donald Trump wants to get the job done.
So, according to this gentleman, and that's his history, that's what he does professionally, immigration, international law. So if you know anyone else, or you saw another YouTube or read some information, who has the juice? Does the president have the juice? Or does the governors and the mayors have the juice? Are the laws subject to interpretation? Will there be a clash on the streets? It's crazy, y'all. It's just crazy. Let's go to this last clip here. Here's a guy, basically same background, a little bit more extensive. This is the international guy. My mistake. This is the international guy.
Can a city like Denver do legally if they don't want to assist in this kind of effort?
Probably not as much as the mayor thinks, Dan. We saw a lot of this 4 years ago during the first Trump administration, and a lot of the mayors of the more progressive cities will come out and make bold statements about how they're going to restrict immigration enforcement in their cities. They cannot stop federal agents from enforcing federal law in the city. So that means if ICE wants to do an area sweep where they go door-to-door in neighborhoods, generally speaking, because of the supremacy clause, the mayor can't stop them. But where the mayors can be very impactful is in access to the jails. 95% of ICE's interior arrests currently all come from prisons and jails, including state prisons and jails. They can also, and they rely on access to those jails to get the immigrants there, where they're already kind of like a captured, they're literally captured, sitting right there. But they also rely on information. ICE relies heavily on information from the criminal justice system. mayors can restrict that. So they can do some, serious.
They can do some things, but they can't stop them, people. You can't stop them. Anybody from a sanctuary city, pro or con, tell me what you think. This is serious. And again, what about that other aspect? Many people are saying we're going to go through the tribulation, at least the first 3.5 years. Will this get us conditioned to seeing the military on our streets? If you do it once, then boom, it will happen again. You know it. You know it. Whoo, what a day that we're living in. Who would think that, I'm not surprised I can think like this, because I've been studying this thing since I was 17. And you got to think about the tools and the climate and the situation that they can utilize to justify military in our streets. And who knows? The civil unrest could be so bad, they might just have a skeleton crew here going forward in all our major cities that supersedes the police. How do we function in? How do we function in? I told y'all, they're going to get 75% of Trump. We're going to get 25%. I pray it's a peaceful move in that, hey, the immigration thing, imposing it. But like I said, at some point, they're going to unalive Donald J. Trump. And this will be the reason why, immigration. It's going to get hot and heavy. It's going to get hot and heavy. But thanks be to God that we have a Savior. We got a new heaven, a new earth, a new home. And that's what I'm putting my stock in. I'm just doing my videos, encourage you guys, you encourage me. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whomsoever believe in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. I have a book out. It's on Amazon Books. It's called Protect the Gift. Go on Amazon Books. And please make a purchase for the holiday. It's about 65, 67 poems. Go on Amazon Books. Type in Friendship Pearson or Protect the Gift. Buy a book for your loved one or your friends. God bless you.